Hey guys, welcome back to my Greek Pantheon series. Don't really know what else to call it. So today I'm not going to be talking about a goddess, but a character. Historically, uh, Iphigenia existed, um, but story-wise, this leans heavily towards like lore and somewhat make-believe. So I do consider her part of the mythos, even though Iphigenia was a real person. Okay, so in case you hadn't figured it out yet, we're going to be discussing Iphigenia this week in our Greek Pantheon series. Let me look up. Oh, here we go. Iphigenia. All right, so here are some photos of Iphigenia. There was a movie which I didn't realize until I started digging real deep into this. Um, Basically, as you can tell from these pictures, Iphigenia was a little girl. The story goes that this is the spelling of the name Iphigenia. Um, Okay, so there are two versions of the story, and I'll stop getting distracted. I really shouldn't do this by putting articles up in front of myself because like I'm like, ooh, what's that say? Okay, so I'll stop being a gerbil. Um, so as it says here, in Greek mythology, Iphigenia was the daughter of King Agamemnon and Queen Clytemnestra. Clymnestra. I'm saying her name wrong. I knew how to say it eons ago, but you know, it all ekes out your ears as you get older. So basically, Agamemnon was one of the kings that was loyal to uh oh, what's his face during the um Trojan War. And so when Helen was taken to Troy and the Trojan War started, the king who had been married to Helen, whose name I cannot remember off the top of my head right now, came to Agamemnon and was like, hey, you have to come help me. And Clytemnestra was actually Helen's sister. So you'd think that she would have been a little bit more on board with it. However, previously to the war starting, Agamemnon had made Artemis mad. And this happened in a couple uh, versions. Basically, Artemis was the goddess of hunt, and she had white stags that were very important to her and they were sacred, and Agamemnon killed one. In some versions, it was an accident. In other versions, he did it out of like just like pride because he decided like nothing bad could happen to him and he was like the best hunter ever. Anyway, so she was really angry. And Agamemnon controlled the ports. So when it was time for the armies to sail away to go get Helen back, they couldn't leave the port because there was no wind because Artemis was punishing Agamemnon. So she told him that in order to get the ships out of the harbor, he would have to sacrifice his daughter Iphigenia, and she was sacrificed on her wedding day. And I think in some versions she's 14, in other versions she's 16, but she was really young, obviously, and she was to be slaughtered like he had slaughtered the deer. So, two versions of the story. In one version, Artemis shows up at the last second just before Agamemnon is about to sacrifice her and rescues her, switching her out with an actual deer. And so the sacrifice is made, and Agamemnon's promise is kept, but Iphigenia is swept away by Artemis to become a high priestess, far, far away, and never to see her family again, basically. But at least she gets to live, and she gets to live as a priestess to Artemis. Um, and it's important that it was on her wedding day because you can only be a priestess to Artemis if you're a virgin, and untainted. So anyway, in other versions, Artemis does in fact let her be sacrificed, and she turns into a wind zephyr, and is able to push the boats out of the harbor. There's actually like a really good retelling of this. What is it called? Um, No, that's not it. It's a short story. I'll see if I can find it. And anyway, I'm not gonna spend too much time looking for it. I'll see if I can find it and like link it in the bio. It was really good. I read it a few years ago and it just like, got you right in the heart. Plus it had a lot of like feminist undertones and I'm a feminist, so it's hard not to love that stuff. It was cool because like in the beginning, you get to see Iphigenia like before it all happened, and she gets to like meet Helen and talk to Helen, and like she's kind of embittered by her beauty because she's like, this is how other people value me, but how do I value myself? And then you gotta like see things from Clymestra's perspective, about like how she had to like navigate the world and does she resent men for viewing Helen and treating her differently than Clymestra, because like at the time Helen wasn't married, so Helen wasn't a queen. Clymestra was a queen, but people were deferring to Helen because of her beauty, and Clymestra is like, but I'm a queen. Anyway, it's got a lot of like threads to it and it was really good. Okay, but going back to it, this basically just goes over what I was talking about. Yeah, accidentally killing one of Artemis's sacred stags. So the different versions. So you can find it in the wiki. Um, okay. I'm looking for if there was anything different. So this actually sets off a chain of events for Agamemnon and Clymestra and their son, um, Orestes, because when they come back, when Agamemnon comes back from the war, um, things happen because Clymestra was not happy with her husband Agamemnon for sacrificing his daughter. Okay, but there's this movie, Iphigenia, which I didn't know. I guess it came out in 1977 and it's got an audience score of 84%. I should see if I can find this and watch it. Something about the director died shortly after the film was made, and it was like his passion project. So kind of cool. I should check it out. Mm, yeah. So Agamemnon is the next portion of the tragedies, or the next section. Agamemnon is actually a play, uh and it references what happened to Iphigenia as like a prequel so people know what happened to Iphigenia, but it picks up after the Trojan War when Agamemnon comes home, and spoiler alert, is basically killed by Clymestra. She doesn't do the actual killing. She has somebody else do the killing, but she's mad at him, I'd say for good reason. And so she's like, does him in. Anyway, more pictures. Now, the other super important reason why I decided to do I'm gonna go to downloads. Uh do Iphigenia is because this is my Iphigenia. That's Melanoy, who we already talked about. But this is my little puppy, Iphigenia. Um, Here's another good one. Them playing together. So cute. And this is her sleeping. I will not sacrifice her to the goddess Artemis, so no one should be concerned. But yes, so my two puppies are Melanoy and Iphigenia. So I decided to do those two characters first. Um, but yeah, okay, pretty exciting. All right, guys, thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next week. Take care of yourself. Stay safe.